So the film begins with a show host showing Lydia. Lydia has superpowers to see ghosts and the people who claim that there is a ghost in her house. Lydia goes to their house and finds out the whole truth, and then this stuff is shown to the audience. One day during the show recordings, she saw Beetlejuice sitting in the audience, which scared her too. Beetlejuice was haunting her for a long time, was scaring her, don't know why, but she got scared of Beetlejuice, and to keep herself normal, she started taking pills. When her manager came to Lydia, Lydia told him the story of Beetlejuice, but he didn't believe her and took medicine from her hand and threw it in the dustbin, except for 2 tablets, which Lydia asked for a lot of insistence. After all this, when Lydia looks at her phone, she saw a lot of calls and messages from her stepmother. She immediately goes to their art gallery, where she gets shocking news that her dad's plane crashed. In the plane crash, her dad was saved, but because the plane crashed in the sea, so they caught a shark, and now for their funeral they had to go to the river, for which Lydia also nods her head. After the scene is cut, we are shown Beetlejuice again, who is working in a department in the afterworld. Afterworld means the world after death. Along with her, a lot of other weird creatures also work. We see that a creature here, who works in the office, accidentally brings a girl back to life and frees her soul. This soul's name was Dolores, who went inside her body. Her body was torn into pieces, so she gathers all the parts of her body and staples herself. Now the djinn who freed Dolores's soul. Dolores goes to her and asks about Beetlejuice, and when the djinn doesn't say anything, Dolores sucks her soul and throws her skin down. Here we see that Lydia and her stepmother go to Lydia's daughter Estrid's school so that they can take her to her grandpa's funeral. In the school, all the kids used to bother Estrid because her mum was a ghost hunter, and Estrid also found this weird because her mum used to spend a lot of time with ghosts. And when Estrid heard about her grandpa's death, she was shocked Lydia and Estrid were talking about her grandpa's death. And Estrid remembered her father's death, about which her mum never talked to her. Now the scene cuts, and we see a ghost detective who performs a ritual and calls Beetlejuice to him. He shows Beetlejuice a picture of Dolores and asks about him. Beetlejuice got so scared that she cried and told the detective that he has nothing to do with this blade. I married him when we were alive, and we both used to do grave robbery. But then he betrayed me. He was a member of a soul-sucking cult, and he wanted to poison me and kill me. But before dying, to save my life, I cut him into pieces with his knife, and now he wants to take revenge. The detective tells him that someone has revived Dolores, someone has brought him back to life, and she is looking for you. In the house near the river, where Lydia, her stepmom and her daughter were celebrating her dad's funeral, her manager proposes to her in front of everyone. Lydia didn't want to say yes, but somehow she said yes, and her daughter got upset and left the house with a cycle. On the way, the cycle broke and she broke the fence and hit a tree. There was a tree house on top of the tree, and there was a boy. They started talking, and Astrid tells the boy that she is Lydia's daughter. Because Lydia was a very famous woman in the US at that time, Astrid felt a bond with the boy and liked him. Later on, he takes her to his room, where he has made a model of a town. There was a pamphlet with the model of the town on which it was written 3 months later, Beetlejuice. After taking the name of Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice used to come there. Before she could call Beetlejuice, Lydia comes on time and saves him. But Lydia's manager makes a scene, and after seeing the pamphlet 3 times, Beetlejuice is warned, and all of a sudden he goes to Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice was very angry. Lydia somehow managed to control her, but her manager was in a bad condition due to fear. Then Lydia shows her anger and somehow brings them back. Anyway, now it is shown that Lydia was going to get married. Astrid was not happy, so Astrid decided that she will not attend Lydia's wedding, but will go to her friend's house. Astrid agrees for this, where they see strange things and then they come close to each other. When they were kissing, Astrid felt that they were flying in the air, and then maybe this boy told Astrid that he is actually a ghost. Many years ago, he died under the same tree, where he met Astrid for the first time. He came close to Astrid because he needs Astrid's help to come back to life. Astrid can always stay with him to bring Astrid back to life. She has to go to the afterworld. Astrid agrees for this because she said that she will meet her dad there. Here, Lydia wanted to buy Astrid's friend's house. When she talks about this, the estate agent says that that house can't be sold because that house is famous as a murder house. Actually, the son of the person who lived in that house fell from the tree and died. Knowing this, Lydia was very scared because she met that boy. And that boy befriended his daughter, and that boy was not a human, but a djinn. Lydia knew that her daughter was in danger. As soon as she reached the girl's house to save her, that boy manipulated Astrid and opened the door of the afterworld. Before Lydia could save them, they both went inside the afterworld. Lydia comes back to her home. She had to save her daughter, but when she couldn't find a way, she called Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice was surprised that someone called him. But when Lydia tells him that she needs Beetlejuice's help to save her daughter, Beetlejuice agrees because he was not a bad person. He says some magical spells on the wall and the door of the afterworld opens. The door of the afterworld was closed. So she asked a guard to guard the door. Lydia's stepmom was doing a ritual to honor her husband with 2 snakes. Someone told her that these 2 snakes are not real, but the opposite happened. As soon as she caught these 2 snakes, they bit her neck and killed her. Lydia's entire family is now inside the afterworld. Here we see that Astrid finds out the real face of the boy. He tells Astrid, "I didn't bring you here because I want to live with you after I die. I wanted my life back. I had to give something to the afterworld. That's why I brought you here." He was asking for his life in return for Astrid's life. Astrid was shocked to hear this. The guards take Astrid's dad and see him. These guards were taking Astrid inside a train, but on the train's door, Astrid's dad opens a portal from where Astrid and her stepmom reach Saturn's moon. A lot of weird creatures follow them. One problem is solved and another comes in front of them. Now they have to escape from these creatures. Another portal opens. This was the portal of the afterworld, which Astrid's dad opened to save them, and he saves them. Here we see that Dolores is doing his favorite job, i.e. sucking people's souls. He is looking for Beetlejuice to take revenge. That's why he comes to Beetlejuice's department, where he didn't find anyone. Dolores also finds a ghost whose soul sucks and leaves her there. After saving her and meeting her Astrid's dad, Astrid and Lydia were very happy. They were celebrating their victory when they saw that the boy who brought Astrid here was stamping his passport. Now they thought that they won't be able to save Astrid, but the twist in the story reveals that it was Beetlejuice who stamped the boy's passport and sent him to hell by deceit. Astrid and her mum were saved. Astrid wants to send them back to the real world, when in the afterworld Beetlejuice meets Lydia's mum, who still can't believe that she is dead. Beetlejuice asks for help and Beetlejuice agrees and takes her to the real world, where Lydia and her manager were getting married. Beetlejuice stops the wedding. What was his problem with the wedding? Actually, he had a problem with Lydia's wedding because he wanted to help her on the condition that Lydia marries him. Before telling this to everyone, he injects a serum. He has no interest in Lydia, nor does he believe in her power that he can see ghosts. He only likes Lydia's money, and that's why he was marrying her. After knowing this, everyone is shocked. Lydia was in a bad mood, and seeing this, Beetlejuice turns her hand into a punch, and Lydia also hits the manager, and the manager flies and falls outside the church. This is the real purpose of the wedding, for which Beetlejuice traps all the guests in his phone and then puts a red gown on Lydia. Lydia was also very scared. How could she marry a ghost? No one was able to do anything. Then Astrid secretly opens a book that she got from the Djinn's house. It had solutions to solve all the problems. Astrid decides to make a loophole, and that's when Dolores enters, who is Beetlejuice's ex-wife and her biggest enemy. Before Dolores harms Beetlejuice, Astrid opens a portal through which a huge monster comes out. Beetlejuice hides himself, but this monster eats everyone. This monster eats Lydia's manager, and the hall is closed. After Dolores' death, Beetlejuice is not worried and decides to continue the wedding. Everyone is scared, but Astrid uses her brain and tells Beetlejuice, "You made this contract for the afterworld, but my mum is still alive. Why would she marry you now?" Lydia is terrified. She calls Beetlejuice 3 times and Beetlejuice explodes. Finally, they are free from the monster. But now, Lydia's stepmother and her dad say goodbye to them and go to the afterlife, because Lydia's stepmom had accepted the afterlife. In the post-credit scenes, we see that Lydia is hosting the last episode of her show, and she has decided to retire because she wants to spend her life with Astrid. Both of them shift to Transylvania, where Astrid sees a girl in a Dracula suit. She was very handsome, so in the next scene, she is shown getting married, and in the next scene, she is shown having a baby, and the baby was Beetlejuice, who bit the doctor and killed him. Lydia opens her eyes because it was a scary dream, and this dream was showing her Beetlejuice because she felt that Beetlejuice was lying next to her, and when she looks back, she realizes that this was also her bad dream, and she relaxes and ends the movie.